What is up, guys? As you all know, the Shimosa chapter is right around the corner, and what better way for us to kick things off than to talk about the fearless Archer of Inferno, Tomoe Gozen. So her main feats come from the epic poem, The Tale of Heike, which delves into a war that takes place during the 12th century. The Taira and the Minamoto clan are facing off against each other in the Genpei War for control over Japan, Tomoe being the wife and one of the soldiers of Minamoto Yoshitsune. Now, after Yoshitsune was able to successfully drive the Taira to a different territory, he decided that he wanted to become the shogun and establish his own form of government. And how did he accomplish this? He takes over the city of Kyoto, burned down the palace, and kidnapped the emperor. Sounds like a stand-up guy to me. He did become shogun, but he quickly lost the position right after. At this point, everybody's looking around like, this dude is out of control, we gotta do something about this. So one of his cousins, Yoshitsune, was sent out to put an end to the rebels and Yoshitsune's deceptive ways once and for all. This was the Battle of Awazu. Out of all the soldiers that were on the field, Tomoe was one of the last 5 standing at Yoshitsune's side. He stressed to her that she should flee to safety, as he couldn't fathom the idea of dying beside a woman. And although she didn't really want to leave her husband's side, she obeyed his wishes and started to evacuate the field. Right when she's about to make her escape, 30 men led by the famous Morishige made their way towards Tomoe to do some damage. Tomoe pulls her horse directly beside Morishige, yanked him near the back of her saddle, twisted his head off, and threw it to the ground like it was nothing. Excuse me? And as you can probably imagine, after seeing your leader get his head ripped off, the other men didn't really want any smoke with Tomoe, and she continues to flee off into safety just as planned. Now, in the section where she enters the poem, Tomoe is described to be an illustrious female samurai with white skin and long black hair. Long black hair? Close enough for me. One of the huge things for Tomoe in particular was that she was part of the Onabugeisha, which were female samurai who fought alongside the men during stressful times. These women knew about archery, the longsword, and even the naginata in case they needed to protect themselves when soldiers weren't around. Like the other Onabugeisha, Tomoe was also skilled with these weapons. And unlike the other Bugeisha who usually hit the field as a line of defense, Tomoe hit the field looking for blood. If Yoshitsune ever thought that he was gonna have some trouble, he would send Tomoe to the field as his first captain. Her bow skills were spectacular, her sword skills were worth at least 1,000 men, and she's said to have performed more feats than any of Yoshitsune's other soldiers, whether the enemy was God or the devil himself. Tomoe will pull up on you like, what's the problem? What's the problem? Boasting accolades like the time where she collected the heads of 7 men and put them on pikes, or even the time where she led 1,000 of Yoshitsune's men to victory in the Battle of Tonamiya. You can see that these feats of bravery really line up with her character in the Fate verse. In the Babylonia chapter, Benkei was telling us how Tomoe had shared a mutual death when she was fighting against one of Tiamat's children, the Scorpion Man. And despite Tomoe taking an early leave, she was still being praised by Merlin and Gilgamesh as a worthy combatant. And we all know how strong those two are. Another thing to note about Tomoe is that she falls under the phantasmal species known as the Onikan, which by Fate definition are demons with an affinity to flames. Information concerning the time where she was actually born and the early part of her life are unknown. And if you look into her fate profile, it'll tell you that her death is also unknown. But this is only because her story in the real world ended in so many different ways. You have one version where she's captured by one of the Minamoto henchmen and becomes a concubine, or more specifically, one of his hoes for the rest of her life, and we never hear from her again. Tragic. You have another version where she got even with the people that took Yoshinaka's life, scavenged his head, and drowned herself so nobody could disrespect him while he was gone. Man, this girl is really into getting head. But are you willing to give? And then there's the route, and the one that I feel like aligns with her counterpart the most, where she's so down about not being with Yoshinaka that she becomes a Buddhist nun and spends the rest of her life reciting prayers in his name. And by the rest of her life, I mean until she's 91 years old. 91 years old? At that age, you could die from anything. I could literally blow in her direction and she would probably disappear. But you gotta give it to her though, she was loyal. For all the people who decided to make her a waifu, you made the right choice. That about wraps it up. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like so we can get this trending. Be sure to follow me on Twitter so you can get updates for the channel and when I drop my videos. Swing by the Patreon if you want to support the channel, and I will be back with more Type Moon content. It's your boy Saya. I'm out.
Hey, yo, the rap auctioneer spitting out double figures delivered for fans to repeat. Handling heat, the commander-in-chief. I should have been banned from the street. Flee after I stab an MC with twin crutches. You've been had by the phantom of beef. Release when the paper and pen touches. While y'all talking, my venomous rap splits. Get your ass kicked, punk. Your kind get off often. 80 niggas deep with heat at the mall walking.